racing.
My mama did was
Oh, they are? I don't see him. Tom's working on his car. We need you, track marshal. Or you can run this. Your choice. Alright, everybody ready? Watch your lights. Alright, here we go. This is the GRC. This is the Duel GRC. We run 2 races for GRC before we start the Fairview IT Series first. My wife's out there currently track marshaling the track. The guys have control over the track with a button on the track, but it seems like everybody's trying to run it as clean as they possibly can, maybe. I don't know. Looks like they're having some issues there. Maybe they need to hit the track button. Who knows? Anyways, looks like everything's good there. And Paul Woosley gets his car back on in somewhat of a timely fashion. Basically, the way this works, if you're new to this, is we run a race on the orange track here, eight rotations. We currently have 5 racers: Randy Kirtley, Paul Woosley, Glenn Burden, Bruce Bullington, and Matt S. And then after that, we're going to go over to the GRC track, the GRC Oval, and they're going to run a race there. And we tally up the laps, kind of similar to how we do the Fairview IT Series. And whoever has the most laps, that'll be our victor. And whoever has the second most, all the way down to third. And those will be guys getting track bucks here on the raceway. Seems like Paul Woosley's having some issues there with his car. As the rest of the guys continue to race on, sometimes this happens. We see my wife doing a really good job putting the cars on. Tried to get her to host today, but she didn't seem to want to do that. Randy Kirtley, of course, he's out in the lead. He's very used to this track. A little bit of chatter coming out of Matt S.'s car going through the high banks there. Might be a body dragging, so we get 2 to collide there on the back stretch. Randy Kirtley reaching down to put the car back on. Randy Kirtley currently on orange with the new body. He just got off the shelf today. The JK NASCAR style Lexan bodies, which Lexan holds up a lot better than that PET G type stuff or whatever that plastic type stuff is. After the first heat there, we can head to track mate and see that it's close between Randy Kirtley and Glenn Burden, within 1 lap of each other. The series race coming up next, Fairview IT Cup Series race for the purse, will be coming up after the Duel GRC. Currently, Randy Kirtley in the lead with 5,694 races. He hasn't raced the past 4 races, as you can see. Glenn Burden there in second with 5,131, and Paul Woosley with 5,079. Gabriel Kirtley, Jay Latham, and Gerald Suttle kind of closing that gap to 3rd place with Paul Woosley. We'll see how things turn as we get to the latter part of this series. Things are starting to tighten up around the whole board, but we'll have to wait and see after tonight if anybody changes. I know we had a few upticks. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Bo took Sam out of 10th place. He's now in 10th, and I believe Gerald went up above Tom because Tom had some issues with his car. So there was a few upticks from Friday night's race, and we'll see if tonight changes any more people and see if there's any upticks and downticks going on also. Plus, not to mention pinball. We're fixing to have a couples and singles league of pinball here at Lanes Raceway, so check that out. And try to get involved in that. Of course, we got several people coming down here trying to get on the leaderboards and stuff. At the end of the month, end of the week, whoever's name's on top, if it hasn't changed from the previous week, then it stays the same. But like for instance, Kay took me out here on Mandalorian. That's a change from last week. So Kay will be able to get her about $10 worth of pinball time next time she's in. Knowing Kay, she'll just spread the love around as she always does. "23 seconds left to go before these guys start back on the orange track. We'll take a brief break here real quick and take my jacket off so I'm getting a little warm. Okay. Well, hang on a second. What lane are y'all on? It's the only way that you can change that. Okay. You have to abort it to get into settings. You can't get into settings without... I can view data, T. Well, maybe I can't. All right, T, look up on the screen. There's the lap times. Got it. Keep them guessing, I always say. No, I do. It's called give me a second and let it time through. Bad working on nerves. I've got to wait for that time to go through. You know how it is. It takes a few seconds while you can track mate with a track mate and stuff like that. I'm trying to hit that auto delay to make it go ahead and skip through.
Oh, it's in the background?
Yeah, it's just doing that countdown.
It's behind there.
Oh, is it?
It's supposed to be. There it is.
There it is. Let's get that. Get ready.
Lemon green. So, why did you just turn it off and turn that on?
It's not in options, it's in settings. The only way to get in it is
I
to
think it's an option.
No. Wait.
How does that? that change?
No, it's always been that way. That's what's so irritating. Like if you don't have that set, that's why we've been running those races before, and they get those extra boosts because you have to end up
Well,
avoiding
what
the
you should
race.
have done is just.
I should have unchecked it before we started the race.
Well, that you should have just added more time. Added 2 hours on all lanes.
Yeah, that would work too.
Yeah.
Anywho, now that we know that we can go to view data, it ain't no big deal. Alright, we're back into things. We get a little bit of a cluster of people wrecking there in the S turn. Randy Kirtley still, of course, out in the lead. Glenn Burden to follow. Bruce Bullington in third. Matt S. in fourth. Paul Woosley in fifth. GRC's going to be our next series here at Lanes Raceway. Don't know who's going to sponsor the series just yet. It might just be a Lanes Raceway series. But nonetheless, that will be our next series here. We haven't decided if we're going to use the trucks or if we're going to use late models. But nonetheless, there'll be a series going on with those. And what you're seeing here now is relatively the times you're going to be seeing, as these guys are basically been, since we've opened, practicing for that series. Because in it, we take beginner cars, which are the GRCs here, and the guys strengthen them up, add weight to them, do their own gear ratios and stuff like that. And being that's kind of a new thing, usually people don't do this. They only use these for beginner cars, it's straight out of the box. There was some learning curves for the guys to find what they wanted to use for gear ratios in each track. But definitely our most popular series for sure. So we see Randy Kirtley there getting his car put back on purple. So next series going to be really, really close, I have a feeling, especially on the circle track, as most of the guys there run really, truly competitive. But we're going to throw a little bit of a monkey wrench in there, and that being that we're also in the next series going to tie the drag strip in with it also. So just like how me and my brother used to do back in Slot City days in Owensboro with Dale and Greg, you would take your FCR back then and you'd race on the trial and then you'd run the gauntlet, and then you'd have to go and get on the drag strip, and there's going to be points associated with that too. So it's going to be all 3 tracks at Lanes Raceway in the next series. So something to look forward to see how these guys change their setups on their cars for the drag race versus setting them up for the orange and green track. As we get that high bank wreck there, looks like several involved in that. Looks like Bruce Bullington's car slid up there in the red lane. As we take a quick look, we can tell Glenn Burton and Randy Kirtley right there with each other. Currently seeing interesting numbers here. It shows Randy Kirtley with an average of 26 laps, but he's only got 2 heats turned. Glenn Burton there with 24 and 25, but he shows him at 24.5 laps average. But both of them turning 25 on blue, so something to see. Going to take a small break as I go over to the oval camera so you can see these guys working their car, and I'll see you in a few.
Chelsea. Are they done, Dad?
charge them for putting them back on the track.
Huh?
I'd charge them for putting that back on the track.
45 cents a pop.
That's right. It's like they, is that all right, bud?
back, everybody. Been gone for a little bit, as we can see. We'll try to get into this track mate before it goes off the screen. We can still see Randy Kirtley there in the lead. Glenn Burden still in second. Bruce Bullington in third. Paul Woosley fourth, and Matt S in fifth. As each one of them racing pretty tough. Kind of, okay, I see. So I say kind of a little bit of a strange thing to see Paul Woosley there on the orange track at least, so low on the field, as Paul Woosley usually does very well, rivaling Randy even on the orange track. But it looks like he had some difficulties in his second heat there on white. Of course, they'll race every one of these heats except for one, and we'll tally up the times for the other from where I messed up at the beginning and forgot to turn cell time off, which ends up affecting the race and how that it works. So I guess I could have, like my brother said, just added a big bunch of time to it and probably could have made it through just fine. But anyways, I boarded out of the race, went back. We viewed data from that race that wasn't even fully started, and wrote down the numbers, so everything will be all right. Currently, right now, you can see in your screen in the top left there, right above sound, that we have the minimum lap time of 1.1 seconds. This is set for our race to come in the future here, the Fairview IT Cup Series, which is to start after the Duel GRC. Now, that's supposed to start tonight at 5 p.m. Here on the road course, and then 7 for the oval. So we got to try to get this Duel GRC up and over by the time 5 rolls around. So it'll be pretty much directly after this. We'll be rolling right into that. We'll start a new stream, of course, for that. It'll be titled Fairview IT Cup Series, and those cars will definitely increase in speed. So we go to the oval cam here just to take a quick look and see how everybody's working. We see Tom up there in the right of your screen. He's here for that Fairview IT Cup race. We also see Bruce Bullington, a guy that has really came a long way since we first got here. Of course, a front runner when it comes to the GRC here at Lanes Raceway. His strong suit, of course, the oval track is most of these guys set their ratios and stuff up for that. Almost untouchable as of late when it comes to the oval track. So we get ready to go back. Green, we see Tom there taking over some track marshal there on the end of the donut, and we appreciate that. See Matt S taking off there in the high bank corner. Get a couple cars going up underneath the bridge there, led by Glenn Burden on orange. Getting passed up a little bit by Randy Kirtley there on white. But both of them running pretty close together, as both of them are very used to this style of track, as both of them raced a lot in the basement times in these specific cars. Only difference between the GRC and the SCRs we ran in the basement was the motor. So the motor in these are 30,000 K stock motors, and the motors that we used down in the basement were 16D sealed Parma motors. So they had a little more coast, probably just a hair bit more top end, but other than that, very similar speed-wise. I almost think, in my personal opinion, that these motors here with the open can design, where they can breathe better, the stock motors, they stay cooler, they last longer. We hardly ever have motors actually just blow up on these. I think I've only seen one blow up since we've been open. But the issue is that you have with these is the brushes are so small, the motors just tend to just die out on them. They just don't really have the moxie as a fresh motor does. And it's kind of weird in a way. I don't know yet because there's not been enough experimentation on it, but I almost think that breaking in the brushes on these is probably not really a good idea. But then again, I guess I could be wrong. Appreciate the love emblem that we've received. If you guys are watching this and you're enjoying it, please like, subscribe, and share to all your friends and family. And get the name out there, because we got more things to come. And you know, I really do appreciate each and every one of these racers, and I love to give them accolades as I've watched them develop, just watching these races as I'm trying to commentate them the best that I can. But watching these guys develop over time, and it's daylight and dark difference between the first couple weeks that we've been open versus now, and they just continue to impress me and get better and better as we also see these average times just getting more developed and closer together. I mean, look at these medians. Everybody's within 4 seconds. If this was the first race, or if you guys go back and watch like one of the first stream GRCs that we did, those times were all over the place. But even back then, for guys just getting into it, it still wasn't too bad. So, you know, I'm very pleased with the guys that we got. They're all very passionate about it, very kind-hearted fellas, and, you know, just a bunch of jokester guys like you would think about hanging out with in school days. So, we do enjoy their company here at Lanes Raceway, and, you know, I know they enjoy coming here and racing. So if you would like and subscribe for, if anything, their purpose alone, that it helps them get their names out there, maybe get some more fans possibly, as we got a few guys here that have a pretty good little fan following for sure. As you see Paul Looser there, his family follows him, and Bruce Bullington, his family, always watch him, especially on the oval. They get really excited whenever he's racing on the oval, him and Jay. Speaking of Jay and Gerbil's got themselves a little bit of a rivalry going right now. And then, of course, when they're not racing, sometimes they like to talk smack to one another. And I always enjoy seeing that come across the screen, too. I've seen Gabriel get on the Bo a little bit. Bo even changed Bo's nickname. I gave him Bo Daddy Dollars. He would be coming up in here and buying all kinds of cars and stuff when he first got here and just racing hard and just enjoying the sport, I guess. But then my brother got his name changed. I kind of like the new nickname better, Bo the Bruiser. Anyways, he gets somewhat of a reputation for doing some wrecking there on the circle track. But I'll tell you what, since he got his new controller, a lot of people can attest to this. Bo has for sure not wrecked as much as he did before with his Neo 17 controller. So keep an eye out for Bo, as he's placed 3rd place in the past couple races that he's raced, something he hasn't done since we first opened. So he's coming back, and you know, we're working with him here, trying to get his car a little bit quicker when he gets the time. Of course, he's been working hard too at his new job and everything. So, but like I said, he's still passionate about it, still trying to push the limits and trying to be quick. I think he come and told me just the other night before we left, he said, we need to change the motor in that thing. I think it's starting to die out. So he's got one of the GRC motors too, and I believe he's ready to exchange that in and get him a fresh one. So if he does that, I think he'll speed right back up like the rest of these guys. Got about a minute left to go. We'll see Paul Woosley already ready there, hiking his car there, Maker's Mark car there up in the yellow lane. Of course, we stickered that up here at Lanes Raceway and painted it for him. We do those here at Lanes Raceway. Any kind of custom design, something like that that you would like, we try our best to make your dreams come true if we can. We're sometimes not the best painters here, but you know, we sure make at least a good college try, I guess you would say. Glenn Burden there, running in 2nd place. Randy Kirtley right there behind him. Both of them getting their cars on there and ready to go. Glenn Burden just got him a custom body made for drag racing. He didn't fare too bad in the drag race. Of course, he didn't get in 1st, 2nd, or 3rd last night, as you guys have probably seen the post. Who got 1st, 2nd, and 3rd? I think Anthony last night took that home, fellow Ford man. But he did get him a new car, and maybe eventually we'll get the IP camera set up with a static IP. We'll be able to see those cars in action. But his car, he got a painted metallic black, and he put Elderbrock on the front of the hood, and then we put like a carbon fiber wing on the back of it. So it looked really pretty cool. And we did all that for about $15 here at Lanes Raceway. So we're not too outrageous in prices. So try to match up our custom paint jobs with the custom paint jobs that we can actually order from our distributor here at Lanes Raceway. I don't want anybody thinking we're trying to gouge or nothing for what we're doing. Just good, honest paint job for good, honest people. And they seem to enjoy it. I like to take my time and do it right. And, we've come up with some pretty cool creations here for sure. As we go back green racing, we can see that Randy Kirtley there still with 170 laps, kind of stepping away from the crowd a little bit. Bruce Bullington trying his best to reel in Glenn there, as Glenn's on the high side. It's probably going to boil down to a close race between these two. Paul Woosley now getting his footing back, as you see him turning a little bit faster lap times where he suffered a loss there on White. Of course, we also are going to be adding those times in from the first heat, so we'll see how things shape up. But right now, you know, things are getting a little bit tired. Mad Ass not been here too many times at Range Racing. Of course, we welcome the competition as he's getting his footing here on the orange track. Let's kind of look at Orange Lane with Matt here as he goes around the high banks underneath the bridge, around the donut. Somewhat a little bit slow, but decently through the S-turn, as we can see, staying right there with the pack. So to not be here as much as he is, he's still got somewhat of a good rhythm down to stay with the whole crew. Maybe just a little bit more trigger control through the S to keep the back end under control, and I think he would be spot on for staying ahead of the game here, because his car seems to be very competitive with the guys, but just a little bit more too much aggression through the second portion of the S-turn, making the back end kick around just a hair, which ends up unsettling the rear end coming out of the final corner into the back stretch. You can kind of see the back end wave back and forth there a little bit. As we get a little bit of a lane rotation and we get to see Badass's car come to a rest there in the high banks. Let's go ahead to TrackMate and see how well he did on Orange, which, like I said, we can see he did 22 laps. So like I said, right there within the averages of everybody else, and it's good to see that. Like, if everybody is kind of scared or wondering whether or not they should come here and give it a go, if that's any kind of a cord to let you know how close it is, that's how close it is. From the best to the guy, I wouldn't say the worst by no means, because there is no worst here. I mean, we're all humans, so we just are a variance of how good we can do. But from the very forerunner all the way to the very end runner here, we see with Matt S, we're looking at a difference between 7 laps total here. So, you know, I know Randy Kirtley has 20-something years experience on this track, and Matt S is, you know, got way less than that. Same way with Paul Woosley, Bruce, and Glenn too. Well, Glenn, of course, he's been down in the basement too, so he's probably got him a good 12 or so years also. But nonetheless, that just goes to show you that once you learn how to get the rhythm down in the track, it's not so much the racer as it is just having a good, consistent, non-bent, freed-up car. So, you know, when you're running, just try to keep that car in really good shape, and the rest boils down just to consistency and keeping your car on the track. As we head to the oval cam, we can see Matt S up there right next to Bruce Bullington working on his car. These are the kind of things that we like to look at and see, especially for guys that are, you know, coming in every once in a while. We see them there working on their car. That means that they're taking it serious and they want it to be faster. We see Tom there working on his car also. Gabriel Kirtley there, he's got him a car coming around the high banks of the circle track there. And he's testing and tuning possibly for the race tonight. As I was talking to Jay Latham last night, Jay Latham and me had a conversation. I told him, I said, man, you've been put on notice that Gabriel is, you know, was such a close race between him and Gabriel. The last Fairview IT meet up with these two, that I knew both of them were going to go hard in the paint, I guess you would say, trying to make the best car they can. And you don't usually see Gabriel here working on his car, but when you do see him working on his car, that means he's somewhat threatened. And if I know anything, that's a threatened by Jay Latham for sure. I see fear in his eyes because Jay Latham has been putting in the work on his car, and now Gabriel took the time out of his day to come here and work on his for that specific reason. So we got 5 seconds left. We're going to head back to the road race live stream as we see guys getting their stuff up and ready to go as Gabriel continues to work on his. Maybe I guess we possibly, this is the final heat here. Randy Kirtley, that's right, because we let one heat roll over time-wise at the very beginning to make up for my mistake. And I'm sorry about it. I'll tell you what, it seems like I can't ever get this thing down, but I don't know. I think for as little as we've been open, all of us combining our minds together, trying to figure this stuff out, I don't think it's been too bad. I definitely believe it's been a blessing for everybody here, especially a blessing for the community as it brings a lot of people together. My wife was just commenting last night saying how much funner Livermore has gotten since we've opened this up and how much people have come together. You know, it's been a long past couple of years, especially through all of the sickness and stuff like that people's had to go through where they've been locked down in their homes and stuff like that. It's always a good thing to see people come back and communicate. I can hear a little bit of a clicking going on with Tommy T's car out there as he's working on his NASCAR for tonight also, getting ready for that race. So all these guys practicing up, getting ready. Tommy T, one of our Ultimate members here at Lanes Raceway, asked about being an Ultimate member today here at Lanes Raceway. Get time off your races, percentages off your races, percentages off for track time and snacks and food. Also with your parts, 10% off. And you can combine that with unlimited track time like Tom has, and even get the percentage off track time for the yearly membership of track time. So it ends up working out pretty good, a really good package, and we offer a minimum of those 10, which we've already sold a few, so we're down to I think either 7 or 8 now. Don't want to go much more beyond that because it ends up affecting you know, how much we can make here. We need to keep the doors open. That's the reason we sell it, just so that we know we have that solidified money to be able to make sure that we can pay the rent here for a year. And other than that, you know, we kind of limited that. Also, we want it to be kind of a special thing for those that are in it, as we got a table set out for them. They can turn the TV to wherever they want to go. You know, I would email the guys, but most of them come in here, so I just tell them, hey, this is the next order. I let them look it over, see what they want. We set stuff aside for them and stuff like that. They get first dibs on all orders. And then also every month they get a little bit extra incentive. I think this month, Tom, if he chooses to, of course he's the only Ultimate member here right now, but if he chooses to, he can pull him a clear body off of the wall and I'll paint it for him for free. So there's incentives to it all, and every month we give a little incentive to the public and also to our Ultimate members. As we see Randy Kirtley ending that race with 2:17, 199 of Glenn Burden, 192 of Bruce Bullington to finish up our top 3. Want to add the laps that we had earlier to that, and I think my wife now came up with the total. Did you come up with the total for it? Okay, so she's working on the totals, but you can go ahead and add 25 laps to Randy, 4 laps to Paul, 23 laps to Bruce, 24 laps to Glenn, and 16 laps to Matt, and that'll give you your actual full total. Actually, it already did it, look. So this is total laps. Somehow or another it repaired itself. That's kind of strange. But anyways, there's your actual totals. I'm sorry, I guess it totaled it up itself. But we're fixing to shut this one down, and we're going to end up moving over to the mobile camera here shortly as we do a retech here. We'll be right back with you guys here momentarily. set up for the circle. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and set these guys up real quick. You can kind of follow along if you want. Let me get over here to the Oval Live. Okay. So, and scroll that. Well, I don't want to do that. And then for that, there we go. There we go. Now, that's what I'm going to do. It's been one of them days. There we go. Oh, let me get a stop session. Let's restart it. Some pause. That loud noise you heard is our speaker here at Lanes Raceway. Lets the guys know any kind of issues that are going on, whether it's a restart or whatever it may be. I got to make sure this time it unchecks cell time by lane, or we'll have that same issue we had before. But somehow or another, it repaired itself, and that was kind of cool to see. And all I really did was click View Data and then just restart the heat. But it was kind of, excuse me, it's kind of cool how that ended up working out. Might have to go back and review that for future reference and write down a little bit of a log of some sort to be able to figure out how to do that from here on out, in case that happens again. Maybe we get a power shutdown or something like that. Just getting the names entered in here right now. All right, now we have the names entered. Okay, everybody, your names are up on the board if you want. Randy Kirkland on green, Glenn Burton on red, Bruce Billington yellow, was the orange, Matt S. What? Oh, that is right. Sorry. Bear with me. I'm wore out, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about that. That's Paul Woosley on red, Randy Kirtley on white, Bruce Billington on green, Matt S. on orange, and Glenn Burton on blue. My days are running together. Here we go. So right now we have Randy Kirtley with 217 laps, Paul Woosley with 181, Bruce Billington with 199, Glenn Burden with 192, Matt S. with 158. If you're keeping tally at home, just make sure you keep those. As you can see where the guys are lining their cars up, let's go to a little bit bigger view of this. They're lining up down there right by Dead Man's Corner. That is now where the start-finish line is here at Lanes Raceway. Glenn says that he has 199 and Bruce has 192. We will review that later for sure, as I don't have time to do that right now. But back to what I was saying before, right here before Dead Man's Corner, that is the start-finish line. And just trying to line people up here, getting them going. It's got 5 people. As soon as they get hooked up, we're going to start this race and get her going. All right, watch your lights. Here we go. So as we start the race off, Randy Kirtley out in front on white lane as we see Tom trying his best to get a car on there live as he could. It's really hard to do there in Dead Man's Corner, but already noticing that everybody is so far getting the laps counted, so that's a positive, as we were really wanting to know that for sure before we do the Fairview race tonight. Got a few cars just coming off in a full throttle here. Get another yellow flag. Keeping track of the times too, is before we started all of these, I ended up shutting off every single one of the track mates and rebooting them, just to make sure everything was on the up and up, as we had a little bit of an issue last weekend in a race where that it went from 145 or 1 minute 45 seconds down to like 45 seconds within a tick of the software, which I thought was quite strange. Let's get another yellow flag there. Multiple cars involved in there. Randy Kirtley and Bruce Bullington fighting over whether or not to grab that car themselves. Looks like to be Glenn Burton's car there. Bruce Bullington getting his car put back on green, and Matt S. there on orange getting his car put back on. But yeah, if you at any time see anything maybe that doesn't seem right, if you're following a specific racer and just making sure he's getting his laps and everything should be working. But like I said, we just recently done this. Haven't had a whole lot of time to actually work out the kinks as we've been open since we started doing it. Just let us know for sure. We're still around here. Bruce Bullington now taking the lead, 15 laps. Racers go around. Tom doing his best to not get hit by a few of them cars. We appreciate it for sure. Randy Kirby grabbing the car there, doing something with it. Exactly what he's on. I think he got used to the way it used to be. Maybe he was possibly thinking about putting it behind the line. Not going to do him any good here, for sure. And that is one of the reasons we moved that, because we started noticing in some of the races that people had passed the line. It just become a natural thing. Everybody was putting behind the line. So, anyways, I fixed that up. You can thank me later. It seems like we're having quite a bit of trouble with everybody's cars here. Very smooth race last time we raced on this track, and everything's working out great. It seems like right now, though, possibly issues with people's cars, maybe coming off the orange track. Maybe it's a shell shocker for people. Almost like they haven't gotten used to the trigger of the trial yet. As they continue to work on their vehicles here and try to get them to go. It looks like it's possibly Glenn Burton's vehicle having issues that time. Spectacular median time so far of Bruce Bullington's 1.97 median on green, really flying. As we take a look at him, and we see him reeling in the crowd there, going past Matt S. there on orange, and he does it with ease, as he's also reeling in Randy Kirtley there on white. And there's an incident with Randy Kirtley and about 30 people hitting the button simultaneously at once. But Randy Kirtley and Glenn Burton there, you know, a little bit of an incident. Or Paul Woodley, I'm sorry, not Glenn Burton. Some of these cars are on the screen look so close together color-wise that it's hard to distinguish. I need some of these guys to come in here and buy some of these hot colored cars we got here at Lanes Raceway. I'm going to show you a few. Here's just a couple of hot-looking colored cars that we painted up here at Lanes Raceway. Now these, of course, are for the NASCARs. We had another full speed come apart involving 3 cars there. It looks like Paul made it out alive there, and Matt is. But that looks like Bruce Bullington's car there on green. Maybe going a little hot through green, who knows? As we've definitely picked up the speed of this track since we've lifted up that back corner there, as Randy Kirtley's car comes off in a tremendous speed fashion there. Looks like he dead-ended against the high bank wall there. You see my wife there with the looks of life, like someone with the shepherd's hook, trying to reel in that body of Randy Kirtley's as it completely de-shelled itself. And I mean, sometimes the Velcro doesn't stick to it, as Randy Kirtley likes to call it Velcro. Every time in this class, I've learned over the years that you just tape it, because Velcro just, when you turn the speeds like this, I almost feel like it causes the wind to pick up right there where it's at, try to rip it off itself. Plus, you know, Velcro is not really made for that sort of thing, so use a little bit of strap and tape on that, keep her down. I wouldn't use a lot, just a little bit just to keep her down, but he'll figure it out. We go back green. He's trying his best to reel in Bruce Bullington there on green, but just seems to can't do it there on the higher lanes. It's higher lanes, of course, you do have a little bit more footage you have to deal with. It seems like Albert Kirtley over there testing and tuning his car on the orange track also, getting ready for tonight's race. I know him and Jay Latham both right now probably have butterflies in their stomach as they're going to go up against each other once again. See an effort there by Tom Payton to get his car back on. We appreciate Tom helping. As you know, we can't all be quick hands Randy Kirtley, and it just so happens he's in this race. So you know, it doesn't help that he's in this race, especially whenever we need good quick hands to get these cars back on. But thank goodness we got track buttons, because they're able to kill the track before it kills about 5 or 6 cars for sure. Plus my wife, the more I see her do these track marshals, what a great coaster we've seen there by Randy Kirtley's car. But the more I see her doing the track marshaling, the quicker I see her hands getting. She's getting really good about picking the cars up, getting them guide flags straightened up, and throwing them back on there in a quick fashion. Something to see. Bruce Bullington with an amazing 60 laps on green, so he's really got that car tuned in. Like I was telling you guys before on the orange track, Bruce is out there ready to get it for the trial as he sets his car up, of course, for that. Come in, got him a new gear ratio. We'll not tell you guys what that ratio is. You will have to ask Bruce that yourself, and he may be kind enough to let you know. But nonetheless, he got him a new gear ratio, and it seems to be working out for him this weekend, as that car is blistering fast with 60 laps turned. The second guy closest to him, of course, is Glenn Burton there on blue, turning 53 laps. So we head to the oval cam. You can see these guys work on their cars. I'll be right back with you here in just a few minutes. right, 20 seconds left to go as we see the racers line up there. Randy Kirkley there on red. He's biting at the bit to get off these high lanes for sure. He hates being on the high lanes at the very beginning, which I think everybody does. In my personal opinion, the best lanes to start on would be either green or yellow. But that's just personal preference for sure. Because I'm sure he wished he could start on those lanes. But it seems like every time we randomize it, Randy Kirkley gets put on line for red. So he's going to have to suffer another lane of red action here. But we can already see out of the gate his car running pretty quick on red, but not as quick as Glenn Burden there on purple. As Glenn Burden comes off alongside Matt S there, giving a little bit of a love nudge to Randy Kirkley, caused him to come off there in the red lane. We see a little bit of a let off there from the blue lane for Bruce Bullington, letting some guys go through that big old cluster. Bruce Bullington's car really flying there. Okay, thank you, Tony. I didn't know that our mic wasn't coming in good. Let's see, let me turn her up just a little bit. Does that sound better? Just let me know. I didn't know that the mic wasn't coming good. I believe this mic is possibly on its way out, most likely. As we head back green racing, we see Bruce still out there in the lead with a really impressive 1.87 median there. Tony, if you don't mind, are we hearing a bunch of almost like you're in a wash bin type echo air sound type thing going on? I know I've been hearing that the past couple times with this microphone, almost like it's been dropped or something. If that's the case, what I might end up doing is going and getting our wireless mic and using it instead. It seems to get a little bit clearer sound as it washes through the wireless receiver versus being hooked up into the alias all the way through this big long cord. This cord is for like a rock concert. It's like 13, 14 foot long. It's huge. Tom Payton there, getting the cars back on the best that he can, and getting them hands worked up, getting quick, getting ready for tonight, getting his racing heart pumping as he was working on the orange track just a few moments ago. Paul Woosley there on green lane, sticking with Randy Kirkley as he makes a quick pass there with Matt S on the white lane. So does Randy Kirkley. Both of them trying to stick the best that they can together. Who's this coming behind but Bruce Bullington, sliding barely out of the lane as he was catching up with the two. Comes out on the crook of the track. Okay. Thank you for the feedback there, Tony. I appreciate it, man. I wouldn't have known any other way. I would love to be able to run two simultaneous streams, one of them that I could keep in my ear so that I could tell that I'm sounding good, but I tried to do that with the early iteration of our stream, and we just don't have the internet for that here in Livermore, Kentucky, as we are trying our best to even run this at 720p. So I appreciate any kind of feedback I can get from you guys, as it helps a lot. Yeah, that's what I've been hearing, is that wind blowing type sound in the background. After this heat, I think the sound of the track, now that it's angled up kind of towards the booth, I know for a fact I'm hearing the cars a whole lot more, but I know that wind sound's not that. It's an issue with the microphone. So what I might do is go out there and get the white microphone, and just from where I can hear it better, I'm sure you can still hear the cars go by just as good as if it was there. It's only a few feet difference, and we might be able to negate that sound. Let me go get that real quick, and we'll give it a shot. All right. now I got the wireless mic here, and I got the antenna, I think, fully up. Oh, it's fully up now. Yeah, Matt's been doing good. I made some comments about it earlier, about how close, even though he hasn't been here quite that many times, but I made a comment on it earlier about how close he was with everybody else. And it just goes to show you that it doesn't take a whole lot of time to be able to get in here and figure that out. Tia Alicia said hello. She said, I love you. She says hello. 1 minute left to go. We see Paul Woosley there in the top right there, leaning up against the table, just like an old cowboy. Bruce Bullington there getting his car put back on purple there, leaving his sticker there, the man of the hour currently right now, as we see Bruce Bullington for sure having a run for it right now. His name is Paul Stone Cowboy, huh? Okay. T's making up nicknames for everybody. She likes to write their nicknames on their sticker sheet, and she's constantly changing them. Like I said, I still love octopus arms for Randy Kirtley there in that plaid shirt, but he does not like that name. But I guess we'll stick with OG, but I'm going to mention it every once in a while because I love that nickname. So we go back green here. We're going to see how things kind of line up just a little bit better, possibly. We see Paul Woosley there now in second place, taking it from Randy Kirtley there in green. And I'm hoping that you guys can hear the sound of the track and also hear me. Thank you for that love. I'm sure that's sent Chelsea's way. Well, the next break that we have, I see that Lulu's chomping at the bit. Next break we have, I have Chelsea come in here and she can say something to her for sure. As we go back green, we do see that the purple, in purple lane and in green lane of Randy Kirtley and Bruce Bullington, both of them just hammering down. Bruce just having to give up a little bit as his car kind of got unsettled there in Dead Man's Corner, but now making up the rest of the time as he's reeling in Randy Kirtley, getting unsettled a little bit coming out of the corner there that last lap, but he's picking it back up again, getting that rhythm down as he's going to pass the OG Randy Kirtley. He gets him there under his wing and he passes him, but lets off quite a little bit there, giving him back the room to Randy Kirtley. But it's still a battle back and forth as you see this crisscross tug of war between the two. We see Bruce Bullington now making that push in front of Randy Kirtley, keeping his eye in front of his car to make sure that he's not involved in any wrecks. And Randy Kirtley just can't seem to take the heat. As we hear a gear going bad there of Matt S.'s car there on red, possibly a bent body. We're hearing just a little bit of issues there as Paul Woosley, the ranch hand himself, reaching down there, grabbing that car and stopping Randy Kirtley dead in his tracks. Very impressive median times I'm seeing here all across the board. 1.95, 1.96, 1.96, and that beautiful 1.88 of Bruce Bullington down there on purple. I mean, everybody here is just right there with each other. Even Mad SS is running a very fast time relative to about last month even. So, I mean, 2.33, that was a very competitive time whenever I was actually racing in the GRC about a month ago. That's what I was running on red was about a 2.3. And it looks like he actually, his best time was a 2.2. So that would have been a little bit faster than my car a month ago. So, like I said, these cars have come a long ways. These guys have been testing and tuning with them. And I'm sure that Matt had a little bit of help from the master Bruce for sure. Competition's a little bit stiffer here on the tri-oval as most of the guys are just now learning how to slot car race, so it is quite an easier track, but the competition increases because it is such an easier track. you have to rely a whole lot more on the car versus the driver. So whoever builds the best car for the most part is going to be your winner here. As we see Bruce Bullington reeling in Randy Kirtley again there on purple, making the pass there. We see pushing hard this time, no let-offs as he's got wide open view all the way to the black lane of Glenn Burden as he's trying to reel in Glenn Burden there, but Glenn coming off, losing a lap there. Going wide open again. Glenn pushing black lane just a hair, trying to catch back up. Just probably a little bit too much coast there to be able to get in front of Bruce. Both cars relatively equal with one another. Maybe possibly a little bit better coast for Glenn's. A different kind of style for sure, as that will probably help Glenn on the higher lanes. As we head to the track mates, we can do a little bit more comparison of the times we're seeing, and it's looking like an outstanding run here today for Bruce Bullington in all 60s or above with Bruce. 60, 63, 63. Close behind there, though, Paul Woosley struggled a little bit there on red, but we'll see how things go when Bruce has to enter into the red lane and see how competitive he is. Randy Kirtley there with the prime time of 57 on red. That'll be the time to beat whenever Bruce has to get around there. But right now, tied up, the only lane of comparison between Bruce and Randy Kirtley being 60 laps turned on green. But Paul Woosley there turning a impressive 60 laps also on blue lane, about 7 or so laps above Glenn on blue lane. So just keep those averages high. 56.3 of Paul Woosley, 56.3 of Randy Kirtley, and 62 of Bruce Bullington. Minute and 42 seconds left to go. You can see these guys working, but what does it look like outside in Livermore today? Well, we've got a little bit of traffic going on. Of course, we see Tommy T's bicycle in its usual position, upside down. I guess he's draining the oil. I don't know, but he's got his car upside down, and we got the usual suspects for race night in the Ford crew back there in the back. Got their cars parked by the pole. And we've got a few other guys up front. Other night, kind of strange. We had a bunch of guys parking up front. Usually that don't happen. We get a bunch of back-end parkers around here. I guess courtesy for sure. So we go to parking 2. How's that Mexican restaurant coming? Well, it kind of looks like here today we ain't got a whole lot of work going on in the Mexican restaurant. Maybe they'll be about 2 weeks out possibly before we get open this Mexican restaurant. Kind of a running joke around here right now is every time I've ever asked, it's always been 2 weeks. So we'll see how that works out. Maybe it'll be 1 week next week. 40 seconds left to go. We're going to head back to the live stream here as we see me clicking the wrong live stream button. We see these guys getting in there. T, would you come here and tell Lulu that you love her as she's biting at the bit to say hello to you.
I love you, Lulu. And I miss you.
We appreciate all of Bruce's clans coming down here and racing with us for sure. So we all had a really good time that Saturday. It was a nice day. I think we had the doors open that day, didn't we? We had to fight the flies for like 3 days. It was horrible. Yeah, it was right during harvest season, and we left the doors open, and we should have knew better, but it was such a beautiful day. We left the doors open. Everybody was having a good time, and about, I don't know, a gang or a congress full of flies came in there, like bees, I guess you would say, and swallowed us whole. They were sticking up to the ceiling. We had to fight them for like 3 or 4 days, but eventually got them all out of here. It required a few fly strips for sure. See Bruce Bullington now down on the fastest lane of black, leading the pack. He's got nothing but wide open window here, pushing. The next guy in his way being Matt S. As he goes past him, Randy Kirtley coming up quick on blue. As we see Bruce running really good consecutive laps there on black, keeping it on. Randy Kirtley running right behind him as to possibly do a little bit of an intimidation move there. Randy Kirtley giving the old steel bullhorns there to the guy on his outside in orange. I'll sure let Chelsea know. I appreciate that, Alicia, and I know Chelsea will too. Yes, go Bruce. Bruce has definitely been putting in the work for sure on his car as he has currently the fastest car in every single lane that we've been able to compare so far, in nothing but 60 runs, as he has got it locked down. Everything you guys had said to him last week has really come in full stride. As when you told him to pick it up, he did so. He went home and he got that car running fast and true, and now he is picking it up so much that it's almost as if he's in another class with everybody here. As he goes to try to make a pass with Paul Woosley, Paul Woosley on his outside makes a good clean pass on the outside. As we got that new high banks helping hold them cars down, nothing stopping Bruce in the way of how fast his car is as he's rolling in on Glenn Burden, passing him on the inside of the back stretch there, coming through the crook of the track very, very fast. As now his arch nemesis for this race, Randy Kirtley's next up, and he's biting at the bit to pull Randy Kirtley in as Randy Kirtley can't deal with the pressure, and Bruce Bullington pulls it there right at the end through the crook of the track where the U's old start-finish line used to be. Bruce Bullington there on Black Lane right now turning the most laps that we have seen in this race with 65 laps. 64 is the second best we've seen with Randy Kirtley, as Randy Kirtley now pulls second place back out of his hat, increasing his average time of 58.2 to Bruce's 62.8. Paul Woosley there in third, relatively close to him, Glenn Burden in fourth with 57.2 and 57.8. Matt S. back there, still learning the ropes a little bit, but very encouraging to see him running consistently 40 laps. That means he's not over pushing the car, nor is he going so slow that he's causing wrecks and involving himself. So learning at his own pace for sure, and it's always pleasant to see that those times are actually increasing. Really cool to see that his fastest lap time in Matt S. is 47 laps on white lane. This would be our taller lane, so he may actually enjoy being higher up on the track than down low. Minute and 42 seconds left to go. As we head to the oval cam, you guys can take a look as you see my wife relaxing there in the chair talking to old Tommy T, and Bruce Bullington, Matt S. over there working their hearts out trying to keep these cars going. Maybe a little bit of dabs of the tires there on what seems to be maybe a piece of cardboard, possibly like the drag racers do. I'm not for sure, but this guy to our left here, it might be Ed Howe. I can see his shoes. I believe those are the rainbow shoes that he got in a walkathon or marathon. I'm sorry. He got in a marathon, and they gave those out to him. And he's always trying to help as many people as he can for sure. Ed Howe, a different class of human when it comes to being a good person. Ed Howe sure is one of those people, always trying to help people. So. Good to see Ed here tonight as he's going to start his racing here shortly after this race of Heat 5 of 8. We'll take a small break here real quick as I'm going to give me a little bit of water as my throat's getting a little dry. 5 seconds before the race starts, we head back to the oval stream here as everybody's getting ready. My wife making faces at me there in the top left of your screen. Bruce Bullington there on yellow as he makes a real hard dash right out of the bat, trying to reel in black with Paul Woosley. My wife hurrying up getting the car back on blue there at Matt S. Like I said, Matt S. running very consistent laps, getting the rhythm down as we see him actually not too far off from the rhythm of everybody else, maybe letting off just a little bit too early, but really carrying the speed through Dead Man's Corner, looking good. This possibly could just boil down to an issue of gear ratio there at this point, as he makes a pass on the inside of Glenn Burden. So, like I said, Glenn Burden been doing this a while. If he's getting passed by somebody for sure, it just lets you know that it doesn't take a whole lot of skill to run slot cars, but it takes a whole lot of effort to make cars fast. As we get a big cluster up, many people hitting the buttons at this point. We see black of Paul Woosley. One moment, please. I have to answer the phone. That's right. Go fast. Yes, Alicia, go fast. We love seeing guys go fast for sure. We see Ed Howe there working on a car. Possibly a braid popped out. Seems like we're having a little bit of a double up issue here again with the hole counter possibly. Let's see if I can fix that as we try to re-establish a connection with all this. And the stream chat viewer here is getting a double ad. So I'm going to try to work on that a little bit. There we go. That should have fixed it. If it didn't, we'll see. But I can't be happy enough with the work that Gabriel's done putting this together, as it has came a long way from when we tried to slap her together just to get a live stream going here. Now it's working a whole lot more fluid, as the GPU and CPU of this computer is a whole lot stronger than that one. No more lag when it comes to the video of the racers. Every one of these guys, are live. It's like you just seen Glenn press that button there. That literally just happened. So it's really cool to see it in my right eye, and it actually happened in the left eye. So it wasn't happening that way with the laptop, as I was having to set some delay times and everything else just to match it up, and then that all got skewed, and there was a whole lot of stuff going on a couple weeks ago. So just really happy that that's working out. I'm also really blessed and happy that the work that Randy Kirtley put in, getting this start-finish line put in, it's helping the flow of the race go a lot better, and it's all working. I know I messaged Jay Latham last night, and I was worried. I said, man, I hope that it works out. And of course, Jay gave me some encouraging words, which I appreciate, and he said, man, I trust you guys' craftsmanship. So I was really pleased with that. Speaking of craftsmanship and Jay, he's working on a box. I wish I had the picture here with me. I'd show it to you guys, but he is really putting in work making a slot car box, and it's probably one of the best ones I've ever seen. He's got several layers that he's building, but it is coming together really well. We see Bruce Bullington still yet all in the 60s. We're seeing Paul Woosley and Randy Kirtley in them 60s too. Randy Kirtley being able to turn just a little bit faster time there on purple, 66 laps instead of Bruce's 63, as he's increasing now his average time, both him and Paul Woosley in the 59s, trying to increase up to the 60 range, as we start to see the lower lanes start affecting these average times. So it's just a matter of time. Will Bruce be able to stay in the 60s all the way through? If he can, he's got this thing wrapped up. But if Randy continues to turn higher speed lap times down low like this, it's really going to be close between the two. 1 minute and 43 seconds left to go. We see here in the oval cam Bruce there working hard. As tight of a race as this is, I really hate to go out there and actually interview these guys and get them off their mindset right now. So we're just going to let her play, and we'll see what happens at the end of the race, and we'll go talk to them afterwards. As we see the man, the myth, the legend there in the top left of your screen, the two combatants, Gabriel Kirtley, Jay Latham, tonight's battle. This should be pay-per-view. These two right here definitely been working hard on their cars. They had a battle last week, going as hard as they could, and I know I've been pumping this battle up between these two, but I'll tell you what, I was so excited last week when it came down, or well, not last week, but the week before last, when it came down to just a couple laps. I can't wait to see what happens tonight, as I was getting pictures from Jay last night of his work on his car, and I'm hearing my brother say, I got to come and do some work today. I mean, it's starting to shape up like a battle for the ages, and I'm really excited to see how this is going to turn out between Jay Latham there in the white and blue UK hat, and Gabriel Kirtley, who's right here behind me. Let's see if we can get him real quick. Yep, he's right there behind the oh, thank you, Jay. Jay giving me my hoodie cleaner, as he's got a TWP cleaner cleaner. He's got a TWP truer for his tires, and he was having issues with it kind of egg shaping some of his tires. So I asked him if he had cleaned it, and he hadn't. So I let him use our cleaner. I said, well, just make sure you bring it back, because that's the only one I got. So he did, and I appreciate that, because I just lent it to him yesterday. As we head back green here, we see Bruce Bullington right out of the gate, turning a couple laps. Randy Kirtley there close behind him, trying to bridge the gap. Randy Kirtley got a really impressive 1.7 median. This was the type of speeds that, as we get a car stalled out on purple, Matt is. But these were the kind of speeds I was seeing last night or the night before from Bruce when he was here working on his car. Down low on black and purple, he was really pushing it. He was turning 1.6 lap times. Jay just brought us something to put in the display. Nice looking NASCAR here. Jeb Burton. They've got a long way when it comes to building these type of models too. Even got the little jack hole there for the jack. Isn't that something cool? So we can get it. See the little jack hole there? That's pretty cool. We'll get that put in the display for sure. Definitely race fans down here. Of course, over the weekend they had the Gateway, the dirt national race there that they have in St. Louis there inside of the stadium there. And everybody was coming down there watching this race. Of course, me and the wife, we had us a long past couple days. It's been quite busy here, and we've been working on the tracks and trying to clean stuff up and paint bodies and everything else. We've just been really doing a lot. I was quite tired, and Dad's like, well, you don't worry about it. Me and Glenn's going to stay here and watch the rest of this race. So I just left them the keys last night. I need to make sure I get them from them tonight so I know to lock up. But they enjoyed that race, and I appreciate Gabriel Kirtley for him buying that race for Lanes Raceway so that the guys could watch that. That's a real important race for all dirt heads, everybody that loves the dirt track racing. So it seems that Paul Woosley's having a little bit of an issue there with his car there in the top right. Let's go to a little bit bigger camera and see if we can get a little bit of spy camera action going on there. A little bit better of a view there as Paul Woosley's working on something there. It sounded like a gear earlier. I know I was motor trapping as I usually do, but you can't hardly keep these gums down. But anyways, it looks like he's getting it fixed. I know Paul Woosley's got plenty of experience on working to get it fixed for sure. Somebody's over there running on the road course. That'd be Ed Howe over there working, running on the old oval course, getting ready for the race to start. A little bit of a collaboration of Tommy T and my wife and Gerald Suttle and Papaw, I think is what T calls man next to her, and that is Paul Woosley's daddy. Jay Latham getting his car out, getting her warmed up on the orange for the race to come. We're going to go back live though to the oval and finish up this GRC race as we have just a few more heats left to go before we get started in the next race. Supposed to start within 10 minutes. And we're pretty close to being right on time for starting the Fairview Series. So I just can't thank Randy Kirtley enough as you see his car coming off there on black. I can't thank him enough for coming and helping down here at Lanes Raceway for sure as we get a huge wreck. Is this another one of those things we seen the other night that Jay caused? A full track come apart? Well, it was a full track come apart, but being we only got 5 cars, not as spectacular as seeing 8 get rolled, but every single car coming off there currently. We see Sam helping get Paul Woosley's car back on yellow. Ooh, there's a hard hit happened there on orange track. I believe that was Jay's car. He says he's going to have to get him another washer. I hope he gets that fixed before the race starts. So we get a car come flipping completely off the track underneath the orange up there. You see my wife there hurrying up, trying to get that car put back on. Oh, did it hit her hand? I hope it didn't hit her hand. Hey, T, did that hit your hand? She can't hear me. It's too loud out there. T, did that hit your hand? Did that car hit your hand? Okay. All right, well, lucky it didn't hit her hand, and she is okay, but it flew right past her. Let's get another yellow flag call. These last couple heats are getting really brutal out there. A lot of cars getting in wrecks out here. I guess that little bit of a break they had while Paul was working on his car got him out of the groove just a smidge. But they're back into it for sure as we still look at Bruce Bullington here, holding on to that lead, giving it everything he's got. 38 laps on Orange, turning a median of 1.91. That's impressive on Orange, ladies and gentlemen. That's going to be definitely one of the high times as he's reeling in everybody he comes into contact with. Purple has no match for him in Matt S. as he goes around him, and he's able to get that beautiful coast around the high banks of the corner there. Everything's working out in Bruce's favor on the circle track, for sure, in that car. Great coast. We get 2 come into contact with each other. 3 now, as Randy Kirtley's nice coast got him in contact there with Paul Woosley's car. Ready, here we go. Got a little bit of a cluster of everybody there. So we get another yellow flag there. I believe that to be Glenn Burton's car there on white. Going hot again here. We see Matt S there staying a little bit below pace there on purple, as these lower lanes can be somewhat scary. But there on black lane, we see Randy Kirtley just doing everything he can to get every lap that he can against Bruce. Not faring too well as many track calls as we've been getting here. Bruce being able to consistently stay ahead of the pack there on Orange, keeping one eye on his car and one eye on everybody else. As we get a car to come to a complete stop there, Matt S having issues with his car. And we get a red flag for a lane rotation here. Hopefully Matt can get that fixed before the next lane rotation and get back out there turning some laps. Matt, consistently speaking, turning nothing but 40s here. The lower lanes causing a little bit of an issue as he's dropped down just a few down into the 30s. But like I said, it is a learning curve there, and I think he's doing very well consistently speaking here. We see Glenn Burton there just right above him with 55.8. Paul Woosley there at 58.8. Randy Kirtley now stepping into the 60s range as he's trying his best to reel in Bruce. Tying up Bruce's best at 65 laps there on black. We see Bruce going to head towards the higher lanes here. Randy Kirtley going to be able to make a few laps. Can Bruce be able to hold Randy off in these higher lanes? He's really going to have to turn some fast lap times on red and white for sure in these final 2 heats. To stay ahead of Randy as he's within 10 laps. As we go to the oval cam yet again, we see these guys working. We see Jay Latham over there getting ready for the next race. Fairview IT Cup Series race. Let's go take a quick look here at the road cams. We got a few over here on the road cam working on their cars, trying to get ready for the race to come. Got Ed Howe, Gerald Suttle, and Sam. All working on their cars, trying to get them in shape before the race. I hope they don't burn them down before the race, but these guys definitely getting those cars up to snuff, I guess you would say. Ten seconds left to go as we head back over to the Oval live stream. We got 5 seconds left to go now. felt like possibly a little bit of a cutout was taking place there. I was looking down at my mic and I seen it was pausing. So maybe we got that worked out, hopefully. Here we go. We got a stalled car, Mad S there on black. Stuttering, possibly a braid issue. There he goes. He's up and running now there on black. And going to do his best to stay on as he's able to get a lap there on Randy Kirtley on yellow. Bruce Bullington on white. Those are the guys there at the end of Dead Man's Corner we really need to be focusing in on, as they're the guys running for first and second. Just a couple of heats left to go. Can Bruce's car shine there on the top? Let's take a look and see, as he is currently our leader. Bruce turning fast times, going on the inside of Glenn on red, really just giving it everything he's got as he's able to get that lap back from Randy Kirtley. This is exactly what Bruce is wanting to see to stay ahead. As time ticks off that clock, the more time that ticks off and the less laps that Randy gets, the better that is, averagely speaking, for him. So Randy Kirtley goes to pass him on the inside. So right now, Randy Kirtley getting a +1 on Bruce, and 9 to go. Bruce hanging in there the best that he can, hoping that Randy Kirtley gets involved in an incident. We'll see how these things go as he gets a little bit of a tussle up there with Glenn. Bruce coming out ahead, and so did Glenn, as Randy Kirtley takes a +2 there, able to get him on the inside as we get a yellow and another lap gained by Randy Kirtley because Bruce had to let off there. See, this is where I was speaking about earlier about how luck becomes a factor here towards the end. If you're ending up in red or white, everybody has to go through it. If a lot of people start wrecking at the end, then you're caught in that lane a lot of the times, and it can be detrimental for sure. Bruce giving it everything he's got, making it hard for Randy Kirtley. As Bruce makes it through that wreck that took place in the Dead Man's Corner, pulling out on the inside, getting a little bit of a love nudge there from Glenn, but still coming around without injuring his car. Bruce now 410, Randy Kirtley 404. Randy Kirtley there on the back stretch now, coming around to the front stretch for the start-finish line, which I have not stickered up yet. And you cannot see the start-finish line, but it's right before the Dead Man's Corner. Bruce able to make it through. Randy Kirtley involved in an incident, so Bruce will be able to get a lap back there, staying ahead in the game here. Currently 3 laps difference between the two. Bruce really holding his own here when it comes to turning consistently fast times. Randy wrecking twice. Bruce only getting involved in one incident here as Bruce takes the pass on the inside of Glenn Burden, giving it everything he's got on the high lane here. Mad S getting put back on black. Randy Kirtley coming around yellow there. But we see Bruce being able to consistently stay ahead of the game and ahead of these crashes. Randy Kirtley being able to get another +1 tick on him as Bruce is able to make that pass on Glenn. It's really hairline. Sometimes I get speechless just holding in anticipation as they rocket it through the high banks together, him and Glenn, and I'm just surprised that they're able to make it through there. As we get a red lane, meaning that it's over with, we can take a quick look here at the track mate and see how well Bruce did. And this is exactly what Bruce was wanting to see. Bruce turning 58 laps there in white. This is exactly what he wants to see whenever racing up against Randy Kirtley. As Randy Kirtley was only able to successfully turn 52 laps in white. Now currently Bruce 61.7 laps, 0.7 lap different between him and Randy Kirtley. This will dwindle just a little bit more, but if Bruce can run the exact same that he ran last time on white, but do it on red, he has this in the bag, ladies and gentlemen. But it is going to be a nail biter for sure, as it has become a race for first and second here. And I can't wait to see, as we go to the oval cam here, just to see what Bruce is doing right now. We see Bruce there tagging his car to get ready to take her back to the pits, take her down, put some oil in them bushings, clean up the braid, clean them tires, and give it his best effort he possibly can. Randy Kirtley also doing the same there in Dead Man's Corner as he re-stickers his car and he gets her ready to go for the next lane rotation as he puts his card in the lane for orange, and he's going to work on his car. Minute and 33 seconds left to go as these guys are dropping down in the time just a smidge. Randy Kirtley getting paused there by Glenn a little bit. We'll see if Randy has enough time to work on his car. We also see Matt S. over there working on his car. We love to see it as he's getting that car figured out, as he had a little bit of a stutter early on in the beginning of the heat. But he was able to give it a little bit of a love tap a couple times, and she got started up like an old 1915 Ford or something, almost like it had a crank start in it. We got Bruce Bullington there in the top right, as you can see, diligently putting that oil in between those bushings. Gerald Suttle there, the top part of Dead Man's Corner there. He's looking at something there. Can't tell what it is. Looks like a car possibly. Also, Paul Woosley there. I guess he's checking the spline, see if he's got enough play in that rear axle. 40 seconds left to go. Take a quick look over here at the road cam, see how these guys are faring. A whispering, clean sounding little car, almost like it ain't gripping coming there in the backstretch there on the yellow lane. That looks to be Sam's car there, he's been working on. 22 seconds left to go. Let's head back over here and get ready for this race to go for the final heat. 5:02 now currently here in Livermore, Kentucky. So we're already 2 minutes late into the Fairview Series, so we're going to be jumping right into the Fairview Series after this, just as soon as I can exit this stream and start a new one. My wife taking off sprinting out there, getting ready to put them cars back on as quick as she can. And that's the thing about racing. Sometimes you have really good, fast, consecutive heats, nobody gets involved, and you can run right through it. Other times, you got cautions. And I'm glad to say here at Lanes Raceway, we do have cautions. We can kill this track. Like I said, we don't want a bunch of beat up, busted up cars. We want people being happy, leaving happy that they raced everything they could. What can I do next time to be faster? That kind of attitude. Not, well, the only reason I lost is because the track marshal couldn't get my car back on quick enough. Now, of course, this isn't national type racing. If we was doing something like that or something like our Fairview Cup, we would turn that on to where that they couldn't do that as often, or at least put it in the control of the track marshal's hands. But nonetheless, it has worked out very well. Consistently speaking, it has sped up some of the races. And in other races, it does get a little bit slower, but it does help the learning curve for these guys for sure, to get into the mode of being able to run consistently better laps whenever they don't have to worry about going and getting their cars put back on and getting that stress built up in them. We want these guys to run at peak performance as they are right now, and so far as a training method with these buttons, we are seeing that, the same that we used to see back in the basement days. We could go, time after time racing in the basement and hardly have anybody wreck, and we'd run full heats and everything else. And I do contribute that to the risk-reward center of the brain, I suppose, where that these guys don't have to worry so much about picking their cars up, don't have to worry, wait, and get stress of a track marshal being able to put their stuff on, that they can sit there, keep their mind focused, and if it does come off, they know that the track will get killed or they'll have to kill it themselves, but not be too aggressively upset over an incident taking place. But sometimes it is the car. Sometimes you do get involved in an incident, and when you get involved in an incident, this can take place. But back to the race here, as we wound down in the final parts of this race, we need to focus in here. As we see Bruce Bullington there, 74 laps, Randy Kirtley, 72. As Randy Kirtley comes off the track there, gets put back on, giving Bruce a little bit of leeway there. So we need as much as we can for Bruce to hang on and make this as tight of a race as possible. As Bruce gets a touch there from the inside of the white lane of Paul Woosley. Paul Woosley not currently in the race. Kind of sad to see that take place, as that helps Randy gain just a little bit more. This is a race between Randy and a race between Bruce, and you kind of hate to see a love nudge take place this late in the game. But Randy takes him on the inside there for another lap gain, 77-80. So we're looking right now, Bruce just trying his best to fend off Randy this last 14 seconds, and it looks like he's going to be able to do it unless a couple wrecks takes place. 185, 184, it's down to the last lap here. Oh me, as it's boiling down to this little bit of a segment. The front stretch, Randy Kirtley orange, the red car of Bruce Bullington. This is it, ladies and gentlemen. That's what you're looking at. That's the lead. And Bruce is going to be able to take it by, it looks like a front stretch. Bruce Bullington's car resting there in Dead Man's Corner. Randy Kirtley's car resting in the high banks there right next to Bruce. Bruce Bullington, what a fought race. What a win. We got to go out there. We got to talk to Bruce right now. Bruce Bullington, the man of the hour. I'm going to try to stay this far away from it. But how do you feel about how close that race ended up getting to be between you and Randy?
It was going to be real close. It kept coming out. I was worried about it. I was like, oh man. And I just got back on and kept hammering.
Well, I knew it was going to be a nail biter for sure. As I seen Randy Kirtley there also wrecking a few times, I knew he was feeling the heat also.
Yeah, he was trying real hard. When you see he'll come off, you know he's after you.
Well, congratulations, Bruce.
Thank you very much.
Randy Kirtley, OG. How does that place feel? I know you was battling hard there with Bruce.
Okay. It was too quick. He had that 4 horsepower hooked up.
That 4 horsepower of that old Mustang. The only body we ended up buying here at Lance Raceway is they only had one available, but I think maybe we should get some more of those bodies in. What do you think?
He's too quick on the old one.
Well, as we know here in the Kirtley family, Fords tend to always come out on top that I've noticed. What do you think?
Yeah. I guess. Well, I mean, I was running a Ford too, an old Taurus, but it couldn't handle the Mustang.
Tauruses never could handle the Mustang. Well, Randy Kirtley, congratulations on second place. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for our Duel GRC. As we come down to this, Randy Kirtley, 705, Paul Woosley, 646, Bruce Bullington, 681, Glenn Burton, 643, and Matt S., 501. That's your totals. So Randy Kirtley is going to place first, followed by Bruce Bullington with 681, and Paul Woosley is going to round off your top 3 with 646. Stay with us as we are going to shut this stream down, and we're going to immediately move over to the Fairview IT Cup Series race, both on the orange and the green track.